Hello and welcome to Nova's Only Trash Here podcast, episode 73. The date today is the 22nd of February 2015. So, it's just us, I'm afraid. No more guest stars and whatever. I would think that we would be used to when Cows and Crowler comes on, but I always it's not a shock, but it always feels like so different and such a different energy that it's always like, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Not a surprise, less than that, but it's always interesting to go from that back to this. Not in a negative way though, no offense to you, Joe.
Well, that can it sound any other way apart from negative?
Yeah, I kind of really probably shouldn't have said anything. That should have been between me and my diary, not me, you, and the rest of the podcast people.
I understand what you mean though. It's
Yes.
like we were at a party and now everyone's gone.
Everyone's just left. They've
gone on to a better party and we're here to
Yes.
clean up.
No, that's not clean up.
No.
There was no mess.
No. Well, there was a bit.
Or there might have been a mess. You weren't here
There's
for
always
about
mess.
half of it.
Yeah, well, there's always mess when Proto's involved. There's a mess in some way or another.
Well, we built a beautiful relationship, so I think that levels it out.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, so I had to leave a bit into the podcast, so I didn't get a chance to hear about all the lovely Nintendo talk that you undoubtedly did.
Oh, yeah.
About how you had a Majora's Mask 3DS and Cows didn't.
Did I mention
That's
that?
probably-
I don't think I mentioned the 3DS.
I recall it a few times.
Maybe a couple of times. I don't know. Who's to say?
Well, either way, I'm sure it was a enthralling. Is that a word? Yeah,
I think so.
enthralling podcast.
Yeah, it was fine. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I haven't actually played my 3DS that much, or my new 3DS. I was all in. I got the thing on the Friday. I was excited about it. I started playing it. It's awesome. It's really cool. And then on the train, I got a lot of hours in playing through it, really enjoying myself.
Wine
and then as soon
on
as
the
I
train.
Wine on the train is awesome. You have to try it one day.
No.
See, the good thing about Wine on the Train is that they do 2 trips. So they'll come down and be like, would you like a drink, sir? And I'm like, absolutely, I would love a drink. So then you get a drink, but then they go all the way down and then come all the way back. And on the way back, they ask to top you up. So what you gotta do is you get the first drink, you chug that, because then 15 minutes later, they're gonna come back and say, do you want another one? Then you're saying, perfect timing. I can have another one, no big deal. Because the first time I went on the train, I didn't realise this, so I only had a couple of sips, and they refilled it anyway as a courtesy. But I could have got so much more free wine.
The fill up's free.
Yeah, it's a free refill. Well, it was a free
nice.
drink, kind of.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Listen, I'm a first class kind of guy, all right, Joe. I go first class. It's all perks of my crazy lifestyle.
Were you seriously in first class?
Oh yeah, that's where that picture's from.
What?
Well, it's because I don't.
What trains was this? What train company?
This was Virgin.
Oh, see, I've never been on Virgin trains.
You gotta go on Virgin trains, man.
No.
You gotta do it. Well, it's because they have a ton of trains. This isn't interesting for anyone outside of England, but the way they do it is that Virgin have a ton of trains going to the north from London, but they're fast trains, and they don't stop that often. So there's like a ton of services going from London, Liverpool, London, Manchester, London, Birmingham, all that kind of stuff. So this is, on those services you get it. On any other service, I think it's just like whatever, it's just a normal train, but because these trains are like over 2 hours long, they don't stop that often, they keep it nice. They make sure you're amused with drinks and such. They do it right.
What London station do they start from?
Houston.
Oh, okay. And also, hang on, let's go backtrack a bit. You chugged your
Okay.
wine.
I didn't actually chug the wine. You just kind of, you just keep that in the back of the head. It's like, you know what? I'm going to have an extra couple of sips, and then I'm going to be prepared.
Was it nice wine?
Yeah, it's actually not bad. It's not that. I don't think it's that expensive, but it was actually pretty nice. I always enjoy the red wine on the Virgin trains. That's just me.
Yeah, it is just you, because I certainly don't do that.
Well, I don't have to travel on the train that often, and
Okay.
really, it's a case of I book in advance. I have a rail card, so it's not that I'm just like flashing my cash to do all that. It's just if you do stuff in advance when it comes to the train, you can get some perks. You can do it nice.
Well, maybe for you, but for me that's impossible.
Oh.
Southeastern trains do not have advanced bookings.
Ugh.
There's no such thing as advanced bookings here.
I don't like Southeastern
It is a rip-off.
trains.
Southeastern trains are horrible.
I've only had to take them like twice, and both times it was just like cancellations and just
They suck.
Not a fun
and
experience.
They're ludicrously expensive as well.
Well, at least I don't have to take them every day. Ha 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 ha.
No. Oh, it's Sunday.
Can you
isn't it?
even imagine?
Oh.
I can't. Right,
Let's move off
anyway.
the subject, yeah.
Yeah, let's move away from trains and British trains and such. So, yeah, we got some stuff. Not much
No, we
stuff.
haven't.
So there won't be that much video game. God damn it! There won't be that much video game talk this week because we did that all last week and not much happened. So we might as well get the first hot topic out of the way, and that's the Order 1886. So I understand you promised to buy a copy, so you've been playing through the game. Yep.
Did I say buy?
I think you said buy.
Or did I say play?
Shh, damn. It might have been play. I can't remember.
Because I'm certainly not buying a game for, what, that's got to be 50 quid, maybe, over here?
48 if you shop around, if you're smart.
Okay. I'm not paying 48 quid for
Okay.
a game that is probably worth a rental.
Well,
But I can't even do that because there's nowhere to rent games anymore.
no. Well, you can
Not
do it
unless
online.
you've got local... Can you?
Yeah, there's a lot of game rental websites. I used to rent games from a website. I can't remember what it was called. It might have just been Love Film. I think
Yeah, I
Love Film
do it
used
from
to
Love Film.
do...
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where I got a copy of like Sonic Generations on the 3DS about a week after it came out. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And then I realised that I just didn't want to use it ever again. Wasn't that interested.
Well, they stopped it, and then I was done. I'm out. As soon as they stopped doing games, I quit.
Yeah, me too. I think a lot of people did. And then they just started doing like Amazon Instant Video. So, it's like, I think Love Film still exists, but I have no clue what it is or why you would subscribe to it.
A poor man's Netflix.
Yeah. And Netflix
Watered
is
down.
pretty cheap, so
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
In fact, I think Love Film is more expensive than Netflix. So
Oh dear.
it's a stupid man's Netflix. There you go.
It's a first-class Netflix. That's what I like to say.
So yeah,
But,
I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not
the
paying
order.
it straight away.
So, how long do we have to wait?
How quickly do you think it will go down in price?
I would give it like a couple of weeks, and then I think we'll already be there. We've seen this so many times with the PS4 already. The amount of games that come out and just crash in price. I'm trying to think of some. I think Thief was a big one that did that. It came out, people were excited because it was like, hey, a game has actually come out on our new consoles. And then they went and brought it, and it got some coverage because of how little games are on next gen. And then everyone was like, oh, it's not very good. So everybody brought it and then sold it. And then Watch Dogs, same deal.
And that Murdered Soul Suspect game's got really cheap.
Yeah, that like dived. I think the studio got shut down. So I think part of that was probably we need to get rid of all these copies and just recuperate our losses. I think that's what happened there. They were just like, we just need money. Just people take them, give us money. It's fine.
So, for anyone that hasn't heard, for some reason, living under a rock, the whole thing with this Order 1886 is that it's mainly a film with game parts in it, and it's also quite short.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it. I think it's sitting on about 65 on Metacritic there, and it's just gotten a lot of attention where people... I don't think people are saying it's bad. Like, nobody's really saying it's awful, although it's really weird because 65 to some people is awful, or most people. It's really weird, like, because at work, some people had it, and then, well, actually, some people got it for free, just given out, and I was like, oh man, I want a copy, but I didn't get one. So one of the guys was like, oh, have you seen the reviews on Metacritic? It's terrible. And I'm just like, 65 isn't terrible. Or at least mathematically it's not terrible. It's above average if you go from 5. I know, right? People using numbers to rate games and not thinking about the maths behind it. I can't believe it. Because I don't think, like, a 65 is still... You should play if you're interested. It's just got problems. So people were making quite a big deal about this whole thing, and I guess it was just a case of people were actually hyped about the game, and then because it wasn't a 90 plus or The Last of Us, but everyone's all like, oh my god, I can't even believe it. So that's kind of what's going on at the moment. Everyone just saying it's short, it looks nice, but it's just not that great. But I don't know, like the biggest complaint I've heard is that it's short, so if it's still fun, I don't know. I haven't played it.
It seems like one of those games that, I don't know, people... What I read about it is that most people knew it was going to be sort of just a basic shooty game, but just not so short when... Because how much is it, like $60? Is that how much games are?
Yeah, the Americas.
And people were saying, I don't know, it's not a $60 game. It's a, oh god, currency. Okay, well over here I'd put it in the brackets of £25 to £30 game.
Sure.
Yeah.
Although it's bizarre though. Why is it 50? Because it is actually 50 everywhere that I've seen. I haven't seen it for £40, but there are games that have come out on next-gen consoles which came out at £40, or even like 45. But this one is just cemented on being 50 quid. And that's what I really don't get. It's like, why is it that much?
Why are games that much?
I don't know. Because it's weird because
they cost more.
Well, at the beginning of the generation, they always seem to be like, we're going to charge more for the newer games, and then people put up with it, it's a new console and all that jazz, so you kind of accept it. But the price always comes down to 40 quid anyway, but it's weird that it hasn't. Like, the console's released at the end of 2013, so it's been over a year, and we're still seeing the AAA titles being 50 quid at launch, and it's like, when are they going to put it down to 40? This might be the game that does it, where they release this game, people are like, that's definitely not worth 50 quid, and they have to start putting it down to like 45 or 40. I'm hoping for that at least.
Yeah. I have nothing against the game. It's just the price point for me, because people say it does look very pretty. They did a really good job with the visuals, and I haven't heard much about the story. I haven't been watching videos because I don't want to get spoiled. But that seems like it's decent enough. It's just I've got the money. I just don't want to waste it on that. I'd rather spend that on like 2 games or on food. I don't know. Whatever.
You are hungry, I guess.
I am after that pie. Oh no.
Oof,
oh wait, that was before we recorded. Hang on. I had a
nobody
dodgy pie.
knows. That was it. You did have a dodgy pie.
I had a dodgy pie. That's it.
What a story. But yeah, same. It's just like, if it was 40 quid though, I think people would be willing to put up with it. But it's just that 50 quid. It's ridiculous, especially because you now got indie games. Like the PS4 especially is so split between having these big AAA titles and indie games that it's kind of insane. Where you can go out and spend 50 quid on a AAA game, or have the same enjoyment and spend like £2.50, like spend like next to nothing and have a really good time playing on your PS4 without any of the big AAA stuff and all those sort of perks. Like, I went to a mate's house the other day, and he has a PS4, and he had this game called like I can't remember what it's called, but it's this weird indie game where you're just two kind of pixel guys, and you're just having a fight, and you each have a sword, and you have to try and stab the other one, and it's once you stab them, they die instantly, and then they respawn. And the whole point is that it's set among different screens, so you start in the middle screen, and the whole point is to try and get all the way to the other opponent's end screen, and that way you win. So you got to try and defend your screen when they're on the attack, and then once you attack them back, you can then run forward. And it was awesome. It was really fun. It was incredibly competitive. It was simple, but there was enough mechanics to it that made it interesting, because you could move your sword in you could hold it 3 different positions. So you could either have it high, medium, or low, so that kind of affects it. And then you can jump, and then you could kick, so you could kick the sword out of the opponent's hand. But you could punch the guy to death. You punch him down and then snap their neck. It was really intense, and such an awesome game. And my mate was all like, yeah, this was just on the store for like £2. And I was like, wow, this is like one of the best games I've played on the PS4. And it's like 25 times less expensive than a game like The Order. So when AAA games are being short, you just can't do it. It's too glaring, because you have other games like the one I just described that it's like you could put it's short, but it's justified. So I don't know. I think that's where some of this is definitely coming from. The general outrage from just being like, this is ridiculous. No one's going to buy it.
And that does sound kind of cool. Snapping people's necks, yay!
It is cool. It's really fun.
But even if you go away from the PS4 and look at things like the Humble Bundle, did you get the Star Wars one?
I don't PC game.
Oh, not
so I don't buy any of this stuff.
It was, how many games was it? It must have been at least 8 games, and I got it for what, like £8 altogether. Oh, it's so good, and it's all the good games like Knights of the Republic and Battlefront and all that stuff. But the funny thing is that I've moaned on this podcast before, of course, about the length of games, and I think it was BioShock. I was saying I just wanted to get to the end because of the story. So I wouldn't mind shorter games, especially as you get older. You know, you have less time for games. It's just the way it is. So you might not want to trudge through 100% sort of open world game and try and do all the side quests or whatever. Maybe you just want a short game. That's fine. I'm happy with that, as long as it is shown through the price. But that doesn't seem to have worked out yet.
No, definitely. I also don't mind short games, but yeah, it's just all comes down to money. Like, that's all it is. Like, it's such a key factor when it comes to buying games and all that. And the fact that it's also just how many games we have as well. Like, there's so many AAA titles out there. So to go out of your way to buy this one is a bit like, ugh. And it's probably also because the PS4 and the Xbox One, I've talked about it before, where they don't actually have that many games for them. Not really. They're getting there, but they don't really have that many big, you gotta play these games, if you don't include ports or games that also came out in the last generation, which means they're not going to be as good as they should be. So if you take away those games, it's got next to nothing. So The Order was meant to be the big PS4 game. Outside of, the launch titles and all that, this was supposed to be one of the big ones that people got excited about and was interesting, and then had an interesting setting and was fun, and it just wasn't that. So I think part of it is just Sony or PS4 fans being a bit upset by the whole situation.
Did you see an image of the what the hell are they called? Strategy guide for the game?
Nope.
Someone made a Reddit post, and what they've done is they've made these images. You know, they have screenshots with a bit of text to show you what to do. There is 4 images to a page, or maybe it was 6. Put 4 big images to a page, right? To fill up this book. And it was explaining how to do QuickTime events.
Oh, no.
Press triangle. That's what it said.
Oh, God. Well, that's helpful.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, God.
So are you what? Are you supposed to be playing it? You're just sitting there enjoying the cutscene, and then you get attacked, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do?
Pause quickly.
As a big triangle is flashing up, you're just like, I don't know what to do.
Let me consult my guide. Oh, I see.
Triangle, of course. It's all so simple now.
That made me laugh, but it's disappointing, the whole game, what's happened. But like you say, it could be a blessing in disguise.
Sure. But I already called this anyway, by the way. I always said the order didn't look very good, so... You're welcome.
Great, well done. Pat yourself on the back. Great.
I did it.
I hope you're happy.
I am.
Good.
I am happy. Well, the reason why I said it looked bad is because third-person shooters in general are quite bad and bland. It's so easy to make a third-person shooter that isn't interesting and doesn't stand out. It's so incredibly easy to do that most of the times that's exactly what they are. So you have a game like Gears of War, which stands out because it goes all out. You got like a chainsaw gun, there's aliens everywhere, it's co-op, like 4-player co-op, which is a lot of fun. It works. So you can really enjoy it. And then you got The Last of Us, which is more about, it's got stealth elements, its bullets have more weight to them, it kind of, you know, when you get shot, you actually react to it. So it's very intense, and that's what makes that game fun. But if you don't find something, or one of those sort of qualities to put in your third-person shooter, if you can't find something like that people can really enjoy, and makes it different and stand out, then you're just going to make a bland, uninteresting game. A bit like what you experienced when you played the Uncharted games, where it's just like, with that gameplay in that game and all the mechanics, there's nothing there that makes it interesting. With Uncharted, they try to make it stand out by just ripping off Indiana Jones and putting in puzzles as well, which makes the actual shooting quite boring. But, so if you just need a quality. And with The Order, when I saw the gameplay, I was like, that's a pretty cool setting. Definitely looks very nice, but I'm not seeing a factor here that's going to make it fun to actually play or not feel like another bland AAA title. Because I think part of this is also just in general AAA gaming is becoming more bland and just uninteresting.
It's becoming
so
safer.
Yeah, it's all just very safe and a bit boring. And I mean, I've definitely been experiencing that over the last few years. You know, towards the end of the 360, now going into the next gen, where it's just games are a bit dull. You go out and buy the latest game, and it's just like, I've played this before, and I'm just not really enjoying myself. So Watch Dogs was a big victim of that, where people realised, was like, whoa, this is actually quite dull. They should have really put some more effort into here. And The Order, I think, is just the next victim of big titles putting a lot of money into a project, but not actually making anything interesting, and people just catching onto it and not kind of putting up with it in the same way that they used to.
Good.
Yes.
Take that, developers and publishers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make Watch Dogs 2.
Are they making Watch Dogs 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it sold a stupid amount, Watch Dogs, so like 7 million, something like that.
Oh.
So we'll get a second one.
Yay! Okay.
But yeah, so that's just this. To me, it's not that surprising. I don't have that much of a big of reaction to The Order apparently not being very good, because I thought it wasn't going to be very good, and I'm just kind of used to games coming out and, you know, being quite bland. It's just the noteworthy thing here is that everyone's agreeing. And I think a lot of that is just because it was short, so it was very easy to be like, this is bad because it's short. It kind of brought it all to the limelight.
How depressing.
Well, it's not depressing, it's just the way it goes. There's still a stupid amount of games, so it doesn't matter too much.
No, but you just said that's how AAA gaming's going.
Well, yeah, in general, but there's a ton of games.
But
like,
think of the future. Won't you think of the children, Tom?
Well, they'll be fine.
What games will they have in the future?
The Order 2.
Watch Dogs 27.
Well, that's going to be the best one.
Yeah,
that's obvious.
26 is just all learning from their mistakes.
Yeah, Still.
Yes.
No, I don't think it's that much of a bad thing, though. Like, I've complained about it a lot, and I just did it again. But it's like there's so many games out there that it's really hard to get too upset about AAA gaming being quite bland, because there's just so much other stuff to look at. And that's me saying that as someone who doesn't use Steam or any PC gaming or anything like that. I just play like Nintendo games and just random, and just like old PS2 games. I don't play AAA games that much, so it just doesn't bother me. You can just get around it so easily and play, get yourself a Wii U. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to advertise the Wii U here, okay? My ulterior motive has become too clear. Just Mario Kart is the best.
Oh, is this whole podcast, all these podcasts, just been a Nintendo advert?
Huh? No, I don't think so.
No?
I'm like 20% sure it... Nah, I don't know.
Well, it hasn't worked, so...
Damn!
I'm not getting a Wii U. Meh.
Oh, come on.
No.
Just a couple.
I'm not getting Buddy Majora's Mask either.
Ah, well, you can't.
I couldn't even I wanted to.
If you think 50 quid's bad, oof.
Yeah. Why, how much is it going for now?
I don't know, I don't think it's that crazy. It's more, like, I think it's like 250, 60, but the Nintendo official store are getting more in stock. So it's over here in the UK, it's not that bad at all.
Mm. That's alright then.
Yeah.
Still not getting it.
No. But you are getting the order tomorrow. Yeah.
I'll get it in, what's the date today? 22nd. Let's say...
Yep.
Let's give it 14 days.
What?
What?
It'll be old hat. Be old news.
Yeah, exactly. Be perfect
You're
for
gonna
this
come.
podcast.
Well, that's true. You're just going to come back in 2 weeks' time and be like, guess what, guys? The order's quite short. And it's like, well, there we go.
What about Uncharted 4? God, no.
Well, you still got to play the third one.
I know, yeah.
Definitely got to do that.
I've got to waste my life playing that one. I think
I have it for
downloaded
free on my account.
Yeah, I think I maybe downloaded it. I don't know. It seems to
Well,
be...
I hope so.
That was always on there, Uncharted 3. I don't know if it's off there now, but whenever I had it, whenever I had PlayStation Plus, it was always on there to download.
Oh, it's not anymore, but...
Oh, crap.
You had a large window.
Yeah, maybe I did. Anyway.
Right, so that's video games. Unless there's any video game stuff you want to talk about still.
Nah.
Cool. So, speaking of talking about old news that nobody cares about anymore, the Spider-Man... Spider-Man. So, I don't need to break down all the details, because I think everyone should know them,
There
but
he
Spider-Man
goes.
is going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he's going to be appearing in Captain America 3. I don't think that's officially confirmed, but that's what's going to happen. And then Sony's going to do a reboot involving that version of Spider-Man that's going to show in Captain America, and then he's going to get his own independent film, and in the future Spider-Man's going to show up in Marvel films, which is stupid, and I hate it, and it's lame, and people like it, and they're lame, and they're stupid.
Yeah.
That is all. That's all I've got to say on the matter.
No, it isn't. Go on.
Right, so... First thing that's stupid about this, or the main one for me anyway, well there's a few, but the one that I don't think you can really argue with, or on an objective level, is that this will be the third Spider-Man to appear in films within 10 years. So Captain America's coming out 2016, Spider-Man 3, out of the original trilogy, came out in 2007. So that means in those 9 years we would have had Tobey Maguire, and then Andrew Garfield, and then whoever the hell the random guy is going to be. And it's just like, just stop it. Just stop
Why
rebooting
are they using
Spider-Man.
Andrew... What's his name?
Garfield.
Why are they using him?
Because he just hates Mondays.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem I have. That if they want to, like, delay one of the Spider-Man films and have Andrew Garfield show up in Captain America, I would have no problem with that. Like, I couldn't really disagree with it. It's like, whatever, Spider-Man makes a cameo in a Marvel film, that's pretty cool. But they're scrapping the two films. So they were building up this universe, which is now completely off the table. Like, I don't know why. It's really weird. It makes it's so weird. And the weird thing is that most people complain about reboots. Like, there's been a big thing about a lot of reboots not being that good, people kind of being sick of them. But this one's okay. Like, another reboot. Like, did people hate the Amazing Spider-Man films that much that they're willing for a reboot? Like, is that what's happened here? Because they were great films. I liked the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 so much more than anything Marvel's put out. There are some Marvel films that I like, Iron Man 1 and whatever, but just the Amazing Spider-Man films were just better. Maybe they weren't quite as rounded or smooth production-wise or film-wise or whatever. Like, they could have been better. Like, the ending of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 could have been better, a bit more, interesting. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a bit, muddled, but they were still great films. Like, I took all the good stuff and all the bad stuff as well, and they're films that stuck with me. I got them both in Blu-ray, and I really enjoy them. But Marvel, well, 4-2 and films like that doesn't have anything that really stands out of being flat out terrible that you could say, that's bad and that sucks. There's also nothing that's interesting. There's nothing where you'd be like, that's awesome, what a cool moment. Like, that just doesn't happen in any Marvel film that I've seen. Like, Captain America 2 was pretty good, sure, but it doesn't have anything on the ending of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and what happens there. So, I don't know how people can just ignore the fact that Marvel's been producing quite bland, arguably bad films recently. And I know why. I know the reason why. It's just because, the Avengers. Like, Marvel can crap out as many average, uninteresting films as they want because, we have a 4-year plan where here's all the films that are coming out. And then people are like, oh yeah, those films are going to be really cool. And then that's what people used to say about 4 and whatever. They would be like, yeah, that's going to be really cool when they do all those own films and bring it all together with the Avengers. And then, of course, all those films were quite bland. People like the Avengers, sure, but everything else, like the majority of Marvel films are not great films. But people are still excited because Joss Whedon and the Avengers, like, that's all they need. And then it's just led to this weird blind thing where they will take down the Amazing Spider-Man and be like, that sucks, I hate it, they should do something more interesting. And then, because the Amazing Spider-Man films are the big ones and Sony doesn't have anything else built around it, people can't just, like, put their head under the sand and be like, well, the next one's going to be really cool, they've got a lot of stuff down the pipeline, so they just attack the Amazing Spider-Man film and think that Marvel can... It just all builds into the Marvel hype, where it's all just hype without any logic behind it, without any reason behind it, without any, like, this is going to be really, like... Ugh, it's so stupid. So people just look over stuff like another reboot because of hype. That's my point. And that's the first point about why this is bad.
Sorry, I fell asleep there. What was you talking about?
The Spider-Mans.
Oh, that's right, Spider-Man, yes.
Yay, he does a
point number
lot.
2?
Okay, so point number 2. I think there was actually 2 points in that last one. The first one is that I actually really like those films. And I think people give them a hard time. Because they did a lot of things right with the casting, a lot of cool stuff. They were good. They weren't problems, but they were good. And then the other point is that it's another reboot. But because of the hype, nobody cares. But rebooting this much is bad. It's always bad.
Okay, sorry. Point number 3 then. I got lost. I lost track a bit there.
No, it's fine. I understand. That makes sense. I wasn't making sense. What is point number 3? Can't remember. Oh, yeah. I guess point number 3 is that what was point number 3? I don't know. I didn't write down a list. I just know I really don't like this. I just really don't. At all. Like, isn't it going to be weird that Spider-Man's just going to show up in Captain America and then it's like, that's the new Spider-Man? Like, isn't that just going to be really weird? Like, that's such a it really shows how, I was going to say dumb, but that's kind of unfair, but just how weird, I'll just say weird. When I say weird, I mean dumb. How weird comic book fans are. They're all about just hype and shoving characters together, and then that's what they want. And I really don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or where it's going, because it's all just becoming a mess. It's all just ramming it all together, and that's what people want. They want more characters, they want more big special effects, they want more. And it's not about whether it's good or not, it's just about having more, which is really confusing, because in the comic books, I understand comic books are a different medium, but films are different to comic books. You can't do it. You can't just keep making more and more films with more and more characters and then just have all these characters show up in different films. It doesn't make it engrossing, it doesn't make it interesting, you're just making a mess. A lot of people don't like comic books, including myself, because of the way they structure them. Where they have like, alright, we got like 4 different series, so you've got to read that comic book from that series to understand what's going on in this series, because a character who has died has now come back to life, and it's just like, just becomes a mess. Like, it's cool that they're bringing it all together, but the good thing about the original Marvel Cinematic Universe, or where it started anyway, is that it kept it simple. Like, you didn't need to watch other films, but they were cool that it was there in case you were interested in the backstory. Like, you didn't need to see Captain America 1 to understand the Avengers, but you got all that backstory if it was there. And now it just seems like they just keep pushing it. Like, they keep trying to raise the stakes with more and more and, like, more characters in each film. So you add Spider-Man on top of all this, and it's going to be even more confusing, because then Marvel are going to keep making their films, but then you got Sony's going to be making their Spider-Man films with the same Spider-Man from Marvel, and it's just making more of a mess. Like, more of a just incoherent, just mess. But it's what people want, or it's what comic book fans want, and I don't understand it. Because the weirdest thing about this is that The Dark Knight is the best superhero film. Like, people might have their preference, or might say, oh no, I like this one over that one, but if you're going to try and be objective as possible about this, The Dark Knight is the best one. And guess what? It doesn't just have, like, someone just, like, Spider-Man just swinging, being like, oh, hey, Batman, and then buggering off for their own film. Like, there wasn't a Two-Face spin-off or anything like that. It wasn't, like, built from all these different films coming together and all that. It was just a really good film with a lot of clever themes and all that. It was just really well made and interesting. But people don't get excited about a well-made, interesting film that's got a lot of thought behind it. Instead, people get really excited about, oh, well, Spider-Man's just going to swing in and be like, hey, I'm Spider-Man, I'm going to help you beat the bad guy. It's like, it's really backwards. Like, what people want and what people get excited about has no real connection to quality at all. It just, because really, most people don't know what makes a good film. Like, I don't know what makes a good film. In terms of actually making it, I mean. People can sit down and enjoy a film and know why they enjoyed it, but in terms of actually making it, they don't know. So instead, it's all just built off hype and just whatever, and just these little details. And then apparently this Spider-Man one is, oh yeah, it's going to be good, but it's not. It gives no indication of quality. Like, in the past, Marvel films have been quite bland, as I've already stated several times already, with like 4-2. So if you're going to get any sort of indication of quality, maybe you hated the Sony films. Like, okay, here's what makes no sense. If you don't like the Amazing Spider-Man films, fair enough, whatever. You're entitled to your opinion. But how is having Spider-Man do a cameo in Captain America, and then having that same Spider-Man in his own rebooted film made by Sony, how is that better? Like, how does that make any... Why is that more exciting? It's the same Spider-Man. Like, well, it's the same company behind it. They're just rebooting it again. Why would you be excited for that? That makes no sense.
Okay. I'm just gonna say now, you're gonna be editing this video, and you're gonna see that gap, and you're gonna think, what was I saying?
I know.
I'm just warning you now. I have a couple points.
Okay.
Couple points.
Oh, sure. You can say something, I guess.
Right.
Proceed.
I agree with you about Dark Knight.
Yes.
And this is how it's been described on some website or article or whatever, which I agree with. So, The Dark Knight is a film about a superhero. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start writing this down.
Yeah. The Marvel films, for example.
Super Knight, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Batman or Dark Knight is a film about a superhero, and the Marvel films are superhero films. The difference, you see the difference?
I do.
Superhero films, film about superhero. Basically, the Marvel films are just comic books splattered onto a film, right?
Okay.
But here's the reason why people like that. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And you're saying why you can't understand the sheer amount of hype and craziness that goes with these films.
Yes.
You got to think, this is the first time these people who have been reading these comic books, maybe since they were little kids, for 20 years, whatever, doesn't matter, don't know how old they are. This is the first time they're getting a high budget, decent version of these on film. This is it. This is their time. They've been waiting for this for years.
But it's been 15 years, though, of high-budget superhero films that reach a certain quality. Surely at this point you would now, as a fan who wants to enjoy a good film, be more critical and be even more like, okay, we've got a lot of good films in the past, what are you doing now? And it shouldn't just be, oh, we announce a name, and then... Because when they announce these names, like, trying to think, like Doctor Strange, if it comes out and isn't very good, which is very likely, of course it's going to hit a certain quality, and people will just go and be like, that could have been better, but whatever. But then they just move on to the next one. So I think that's probably a part of it, but it shouldn't take out the logic part of it. And I also do know that there's a lot of people who just break these films down and say they're not that great too. Comic book fans are nerds, and that's what nerds love to do. So I know those people exist, but just in general, like, maybe it is just, the problem is that most people are these casual fans who like the comic books and want to be really into them and like think they're pretty cool and like the films, but they're not all in. So I think the majority of people are in that camp where they kind of don't care that much. They're not passionate enough about it, but they'll still get excited and still kind of enjoy them. So that's why they kind of go in and be like, that was pretty good. So then they just move on to the next one. That's probably a part of it too.
Mm-hmm. I was taking a drink. What was I going to say? Oh, that's it. We probably quite a few podcasts ago now, we were saying about at some point a Marvel film is going to be a damp squib and it's not going to work out. I think I know what that's going to be. I think it's going to be Ant-Man.
Ant-Man?
Yeah. The reaction to that trailer was not really that good.
Oh dear.
Most of it was just sort of, it's Paul Rudd as well. You think, he'd be funny. But and maybe the film will still be good, but it's the first time I have seen a response to a trailer and it not be, oh my god, pause at 12 seconds and you'll see this person in the background. It was just So, I don't know. Ant-Man.
I think that's probably just because nobody cares about Ant-Man.
But
really?
But then maybe that's Marvel thinking they'll like what I want them to like, and then no, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't.
But then again, that's still not really quality. It's just a case of make the film with the character I want.
Yeah.
And then if they're like, hey, Ant-Man, he's an interesting guy. It's like, no, shut up.
No.
We want Spider-Man in Avengers.
Well, all I know is I'm probably not going to see Captain America 2. And I probably...
2 or 3?
Oh, 3, sorry. 3.
Civil War.
3. So, whatever.
I guess so.
That's my response to all of it.
It could still be good, right? Even after all I've said. Like, they could... If they reboot Spider-Man in a way where it's just a completely different Spider-Man, then that's the only way they could do it. I still wouldn't like it. Because the only reason why I'm so annoyed is because Spider-Man's like the only superhero I really care about. I don't read comic books, but there's just something about Spider-Man that really just... I don't know, I can't explain it. But he's the one I care about. For some people, it's Batman. For some people, I was going to say Superman, but that's not true. Everyone kind of has that one superhero they really like. And for me, it's Spider-Man. I love the games. I love the films. That's actually about it. But there's just something really cool about him that I don't know, I just really like. So this is why it annoys me so much. Because all the other stuff, like, 4-2 was really boring, but whatever, who cares? Like, I don't care that much. I care that I wasted my money to go see it, but... Yeah, just Spider-Man's the one that... It was on track. They made 2 good films, and now it's gone. It's all gone.
Well, the thing I don't get is... You saying that has to... Yeah, it does have to be a different Spider-Man, because I remember hearing and reading... when they were kind of teasering about the first Amazing Spider-Man film, about how they'd done such a good job of making his Spidey suit like the one out of the comics, and it was like the best translation of comic book Spider-Man to film. So
wasn't that the second film?
Oh, was it the second one?
Because I think you told me about this, and I think it was around the second film when we talked about
second film. Anyway, so people were like, "Yes, they've finally got the eyes right, they've got the whatever, blah blah blah," and so that means that's sort of done. They've done that bit now, so they can't try and do the comic book again. It's done. It's been done.
Well, there's like plenty of different Spider-Men, so they have plenty to choose from, but it can't just be the Amazing Spider-Man. But what they're saying is that it's going to be a Spider-Man from high school, and then what people are saying or talking about at the moment is that it's going to be the Black Spider-Man. I can't remember the character's name. He does have a different name, which would be so lame. Like, it might... that would just be so lame. Where it's just like, we're going to do a different Spider-Man, we're going to make him the black one, and it's just like... Ugh. I think that would be lame.
Wait. You're calling black people lame now?
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not taking that much of a stand. But it's like, okay, so there's a ton of different Spider-Mans. So you could do like...
That's Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman. I wouldn't like to see that either. But you could do like Ultimate Spider-Man, the future one, something like that. There's a few to choose from. So for you to just make him the same essentially as Peter Parker... Because, well, he is a different Spider-Man, but they're saying how they want to go back to high school. So if they made him the Black Spider-Man, he would just be Spider-Man but black in high school. So he wouldn't be different at all. But people would be tricked into thinking he's different because he's not the same race. When really he's not a different character. He's still like a high school kid and Spider-Man. And he's still got to be that witty, well, not witty, but the guy that makes a lot of jokes and doesn't take stuff seriously. Yeah, snarky. Spider-Man's always snarky. So I assume that the black version is also snarky, so it wouldn't be a different character. It would just be the same guy with different skin, which is like, that doesn't count. Try again.
I've got a question for you. I know you don't follow comic books, but you know more than me.
I know many things.
I'm assuming they made a black Spider-Man to, fight against racism. Right? So that, yeah.
Maybe. I'm not too sure. I just know that it was, I think Peter Parker quit.
Right.
Peter Parker quit. Yeah. He quit. So then someone else took over who was black. Right. I don't know if that was like a big deal or how much of a big deal that was. I think that's just, that's what the character was.
Alright, well, I thought that because it's sort of in the same vein of when they did I don't know, female Thor or something. They do a female version as well. Have they done a gay superhero?
Yeah.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, there's definitely gay superheroes. I can't remember
I just wondered, because, you have like the racism, sexism. What about homophobia in comics?
Well, they could make him the gay Spider-Man.
I was thinking
it
could be the gay one.
That'd be fun. That would just be fun.
It'd be different, at least.
It would be.
Okay.
That'd be a bit more different.
But I know you're a passionate fan, Tom, so
yeah,
that's what that past 20 minutes or however long that was.
That's about right.
Okay, was about.
I think, my main reaction... Okay, so to break it down, it's another reboot. The series was good. Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man. Marvel don't know what they're really... Well, they know what they're doing with films. They're making bad ones. And then people just being overhyped. those are my problems. Summarized.
Go make your own Spider-Man film.
I
with blackjack and
will.
hookers.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not the direction I would go in, but...
Alright. Just an idea.
Cool. Okay, so there's another film thing that came out, which I think would interest you more than me. And that's Neil... He's got a dumb last name.
Neil Buchanan?
Blomkamp? Blomkamp?
Blomkamp?
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, Neils and Wheels.
Nilsy.
He is... Yeah, Nils A. Over the Nils. He is making an Alien film.
Oh, yes. Yes, the guy who did District 9.
Yes, District 9 and Elysium, and he's got another film coming out really soon called, I think, Chappie? Which I had no idea about this film, and then I saw it around on the internet being like, hey, he made another film. Good for him. So I might have to go see it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know anything about it.
I've heard about this, and I've also heard that they're still making a Prometheus 2. So there's going to be 2 strands of the Alien franchise now, currently in production, which is really good.
Well, the only reason why there's going to be a Prometheus 2 is because Ridley Scott's behind it.
Yeah.
If it was any other director or anyone else who made that film, there's no way a studio would allow a second one. But because it's the main guy, he gets to make the second one.
Why did you say that?
Well, it didn't do that well.
Really?
Well, at the box office it did pretty good, but a lot of fans didn't like it. I think most people didn't like that film. That was the general impression I got.
I don't know. I think it was a good film until you start thinking about it too much, which people on the internet tend to do.
I don't like that with like a film like that. I really don't like the way that film was made and written because it just doesn't explain some stuff. And it's not even stuff, like, there's stuff you can break down and be like, that makes no sense. But then just in just general stuff, that you just watch that film and it's like, that's really lame. And that was the first Alien film I saw. Well, I saw Alien vs. Predator, but that doesn't count. So that was the first Alien film I saw. So I was like, okay, sure. Visually it was pretty nice, but that's about it. But after seeing Alien 1 and Aliens, I think I would hate it if I rewatched it.
Okay.
Because there seems to be a lot of like homages and stuff taken right from those films, like intentionally, but it just doesn't make sense. Like he just didn't want it to make sense for some reason. And I think it's super distracting when you watch that film. Like the beginning of the film doesn't explain itself in any sort of way, where the guy drinks that like blue stuff and then falls into a river.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to read that up afterwards because there's no indication about what that is, like at all.
So what is it?
He apparently populates Earth, like he destroys himself and then the DNA becomes people.
Right.
So he was on Earth and there's no life, and then he creates life or humans by drinking that blue stuff or whatever it was.
I do wonder if the DVD or the Blu-ray has. Because Ridley Scott likes his director's cut. He really does. So I do wonder if there is extra footage that answers some questions. Whether it be in deleted scenes or something. I hope there is.
Yeah, maybe. But these answers have to be somewhere.
Prometheus 2!
Hey!
Bring on the money!
I don't know what that film was really meant to be. Like, when I first watched it, like I said, I hadn't seen the Alien film, so it's like, whatever. But after seeing them, I'm just like, what was that? What was the point? Like, what was the point in Prometheus?
The whole point of the film, Tom, was for literally the last 20 seconds where you saw the thing. That was it. That's why everyone wanted to go see the film. They wanted to see where the xenomorphs came from. They got their answer, sort of, if you followed that film. And that's it. If you showed me the 20 seconds of that film, I'd have been happy.
Sure.
That is it.
But then it's just like, it's not scary. It's not really intense.
I'd say there's one scene that's quite intense. The one bit I do remember from the film is where she's in the machine thing.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I like that bit, because it was a nice homage, as you say.
Yeah. But then if that's all it's got, then it's not a good film.
No, if it had nothing to do with aliens or Alien, it would suck. It doesn't stand on its own feet, for sure.
Well, if it had nothing to do with it probably needed to have nothing to do with the other films, so it just couldn't heavily just rely on them so much.
Well, we'll get in a second.
Yeah, great. But yeah, so we're also getting this other film by the District 9 guy, which I think the most exciting part about this is that it's somebody else getting the Alien franchise in any form.
What do you mean?
Well, Ridley Scott, the last one he made was Prometheus, which wasn't that good and confusing. It was a complete mess. So, obviously he wants to expand the whole universe, and in his head he's got this all planned out, but he's only half going to explain it in the films or whatever. Clearly he seems to be psychotic. But we're going to just get someone who gets given the idea of, here's the universe, here's what's going on here, and here's the setups you can have, and then they can come up with the situations or whatever. They get a bit more creative freedom to do what they want. I mean, I know they already did that in the past and it didn't really work out.
Yeah,
of course it worked out with Aliens.
Yep.
With James Cameron, but it didn't work out elsewhere.
No.
But I think it's time for some fresh blood, for somebody else to do it. And if that is the guy who made District 9, which is a great film, then awesome. Maybe we'll get a good horror film from the Alien franchise again.
Maybe. But here's the thing I do worry about with this Alien film. And I do like Alien, really good film, but the thing is, the xenomorph is not scary anymore. It's not scary.
No.
So they have to, if they want to make this into a good horror film, well, if they want to make it into a good film, they have to do something different with the creature, because they can't rely on it anymore.
No.
Everyone knows what it looks like. That was the mystery of the first film. It's been so long now, it's sort of an icon, that alien, so maybe they can switch it up with, I don't know, how it evolves or something, but we just need a creature that we don't know what it looks like and we don't know what it does. Then it'll be a good film.
Well, they can do whatever they want. I don't know exactly what this guy plans to do, but I think at this point, it's just they could do whatever. I mean, we'll see more as we go, but it could be anything at this point, and all we know is that it won't be over the top, confusing, whatever, like Prometheus. So that's just, I'm optimistic at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. Although at the same time, they might want to sort of keep that alien in there because of it'll be new. It'll be like a new film, a new person. So they want something to transition people over. But
maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's still going. Definitely, I have faith. Put it that way.
Well, it's interesting with Aliens though, where people definitely have a love for the creature on the series, but you could argue that it wasn't good since the early 80s. The series peaked at the early 80s, and now we're still getting more films. And there hasn't been anything that great since then, which is 30 years ago at this point. So it's kind of interesting that we do still care to some level, like with the video games as well, that we did, people did care. People felt so let down by Alien Colonial Marines is because they got excited about it. But it's like the franchise hasn't put out anything good since the second film. It makes no sense, really.
Yeah, that is true. That is a good point. I think for a lot of people, well, as is the case with most things, it's probably just nostalgia and childhood stuff, and that's kind of been dragging it along. But no, you're right. It is about time we have something decent from the franchise. Definitely.
Yeah, and he might just be the guy. Maybe.
Granted, I haven't actually seen District 9 or any of his films.
You should watch.
You
should watch District 9. Watch some District 9.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. It's kind of everywhere though. You can get the Blu-ray for like a $5. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Love film.
Is the PS4 a Blu-ray player?
Yep. Plays 3D ones as well.
That's cool. Good. All right. Still need to know.
As long as you have the right firmware, which you should.
Well, it's actually now we're at the point where consoles are quiet again. You can hear the film over it, so I might just do that.
Oh, it's wonderful. No
It's a
horrible
whole new
filters or
world.
whatever.
No.
Okay, right. So TV. Next thing we got is TV. So Better Call Saul has started, and
It
we're
has.
3 episodes in. Although another episode would have come
We
out
are.
by the time this goes out. And so far, my impressions are pretty good. I think I don't have too much to say other than it's surprisingly really interesting to watch. Not that much really happens, but they have instantly done well where they've just made Saul Goodman or, James... Oh, I can't remember his last name. McGill, yeah, making James McGill like just an interesting character to see, just interact in the world and what he does. Because there's a lot of time in the show where stuff happens, but a lot of it is just him doing his day-to-day stuff. But it's all interesting. Like, the show doesn't move at that fast of a pace, but it's completely fine. So I think straight away they've kind of really done a good job, where just I'm already all in with James McGill.
That's very interesting you say that. Very interesting.
Oh no.
Because
Oh no.
I have kind of the... oh dear. I have kind of the opposite effect. It started out really well, but I'm finding my interest is waning by episode 3.
What, because of the way it ended, or just you're not motivated?
The story.
Oh.
The story.
But you're
because
just going
they
along...
They can't do like these crazy storylines of drug lords and stuff quite yet, because they're still getting into him becoming a crooked lawyer, which means it's still sort of boring stuff. What sort of stuff about embezzlement? I don't care about embezzlement. I don't care about families camping in the woods. I know it is going to get better at some point, because there is going to be a turning point where he realizes he's in that part of the criminal league now. But as of now, it is a little bit plodding along for my liking. It will get better, I'm sure, for me anyway.
Well, I thought that was a good last episode, the third one, about the embezzlement, because the whole episode is about, is Saul Goodman or James McGill a good person? That's the kind of the whole episode. And then it's him having conflict where it's just like sometimes he wants to do the right thing and he does want to do the right thing, but he just can't. So I thought that's the interesting part. It's not interesting what happens to the family, but seeing this guy go through this eternal struggle about I do some bad things or whatever, get involved in some stuff I shouldn't and con people, whatever, but ultimately I still want to help, but I'm also not great at what I do. So that's what made the episode interesting. And that's kind of what I was pretty much talking about, where he's just an interesting person to see and just to see what he does.
Yeah, but we know how he's going to turn out. I don't care about... we know we know the end result. This is a problem with prequels. We know what's going to happen. I don't understand why they show the bits where, he's got a gun. He's going to shoot him. Well, no, he's not. I just don't understand those bits.
Well, we don't know who he was, though. Like, we all know who he's going to be, but really we don't even know that much. Like, we knew Walter White and we knew Jesse and whatever. We saw those personal moments with them and what they went through, but Saul Goodman was actually, we didn't see much of that stuff. He was just kind of around, and he got the stuff done in terms of lawyer stuff, but we didn't actually see who he really was. So, I don't know, I still think it's interesting. I think the thing I like is that I don't think about Breaking Bad when I watch it. I was kind of disappointed with what happened at the end of the first episode with the character that shows up. Because I was kind of like, I just want this to be its own show. And I think it's kind of walking on that tightrope a little bit with Mike and also with that other character that showed up. But it's still doing a good enough job with separating itself, where the show really isn't Saul Goodman or about Breaking Bad, and that's why I think that's why I really liked the third episode, because it wasn't connected to Breaking Bad in any sort of sense, and that was awesome.
I want to like it. I don't get me wrong. I want to like it, and I like the actor, Bob Odenkirk. He's a good actor.
It's a good show.
He's very good at being that pathetic character that you want to root for. It's just they need to. Maybe it's because once you've. I know it's not supposed to be Breaking Bad. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But once you've had a taste of the storylines of Breaking Bad, everything just seems so much slower in comparison and so much lamer in comparison. And I want death and more murder. All right, that's all I want.
Come on.
I don't want camping. I want death, and I didn't get that yet. There you go.
Well, I mean, what? Okay, sure. You know that Breaking Bad had a lot of just, especially in season 1, of nothing.
It was
really
slow,
happening,
which is why I expect it's going to be slow for Better Call Saul. Yeah.
But I don't want the show that you're really describing, though.
No?
I don't want the Jim McGill being involved in a big drug thing where people are being murdered and all that kind of stuff. I just want the guy doing stuff, and I like how they're expanding on this other story about... I can't remember the character's name, but the guy who's obviously dying or whatever and can't go back. I like that they're expanding a different storyline and not just having it be like, oh, the drug people are... like, because they already did it all in Breaking Bad, and it was good in Breaking Bad, and you're not going to top the stuff that happened with Gus and all that kind of stuff. So instead, doing something different is better, and as long as the characters are there, that's what I want.
Different doesn't necessarily mean better.
Sure it does.
Listen, we just said about Spider-Man, goddammit.
Huh? Well, I have to apologise then. Different Spider-Man is going to be better. It's going to be great. I love it.
Okay. Alright.
I'm excited.
Good.
Because, well, what it comes down to is that this show isn't Breaking Bad. But...
No.
Which is good. I don't want it to be. Well then, we'll have to agree to disagree. But this show will probably get to a different place. But it looks nice.
Yeah.
Well, it is directed in the same way as Breaking Bad
as well. So
cool.
It's going to go somewhere. Yeah, you're right. It's still finding its feet, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I think... I was chewing my pen, sorry about that. I think that's about it for this podcast. There is one more thing I can talk about, and that's I saw Big Hero 6 today, and it was a good film. Yeah. I think visually it was great. I really liked the robot in it. He's a lot of fun. Like, it actually made me laugh a few times. I didn't love it. I definitely liked it, though. Definitely good. But I didn't love it because it feels a bit... not hollow, but it seems to have themes of how to rightly deal with loss. That seems to be a big theme in the film. But I really don't think it goes all in with it. It just doesn't have that... like, it's there... but it's not interesting. Like, it doesn't... like, because Finding Nemo has that very strong idea of dealing with loss and whatever. It's very similar sort of themes in Finding Nemo, although that also has the father-son stuff in it too. So that's very strong among those films, or in that film, and it has all those kind of moments where the dad is afraid of letting go and all that. You know, the classic, I can't let you... do this, Nemo, or whatever the line was. He says it to Dory, which, you know, very simple moment, but very poignant moment at the same time, and gets it all done. Big Hero 6, I don't think really has that, but has, like, the same themes, but doesn't quite nail those moments in the same way. So it comes across emotionally being a little bit flat, and then also kind of the ending, what happened, it's like... it doesn't actually deal with loss because only one character actually dies in the end, because a lot of like some characters just come back. So it kind of didn't want to go all in terms of doing that whole loss angle, but it was still good. I mean, it was still like the characters and all that stuff and the visuals and all that. It was still a good film. I just think it needed to commit a little bit more, have a bit more of a stronger overtone, and kind of just not fall into the whole it's a kids film, so we're not going to go that far.
Could this be summarised with a quote from Buttery Biscuit Base?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I think it can. Right?
Right.
It needs to go a little bit deeper.
It needs to go a little bit deeper. Yeah, that's sure.
That's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not that it didn't try, though. It did have emotional moments, but it just wasn't. It wasn't there. It wasn't an emotional home run like Pixar usually does. But it's still
Biscuit Base.
No, not Base. No.
Oh, fine.
Yes. But this film isn't really doing that well anyway. I think it's doing okay, but it's not a runaway hit, and I think that's why. Because it does there's some things in there that's pretty cool, but it's not going to leave enough of an impact. Like, okay, so you got the robot, right? I'm going to go into some spoilers, but it just doesn't really matter. So right at the end, of course, there's a moment where the robot's like, I've got to save you. And the kid's like, no, you'll die. And he's like, I don't care. So then he obviously does the moment and, like, saves the kid. And then just 2 minutes later, the kid's like, I'll just rebuild him. And he just makes him again.
Oh.
And he's like, yay! And then the ending is him, like, riding on his back as they're flying around, being like, we're heroes. And he's like, what? Why is this? Like, what? It's so weird. That it just couldn't, like, that moment comes off as completely flat. Because it's like, well, he just rebuilt him. So, okay.
Oh, he is a robot, Tom. Come on.
No, but it's kind of, yeah, sure. But then it's like, well, don't try and have it be that moment.
You can't kill a robot.
Of course you can. He was in a portal.
Although I suppose there was the Iron Giant.
Yeah, they didn't rebuild him.
No, he's just dead.
He just... That's it. The kid was
dead.
too dumb. The kid's like, I could rebuild him, but I'm just too stupid. I just can't get it done.
And that is the valuable moral lesson we must teach children. Don't try.
Just don't. You can't rebuild your friends.
Trying is the first step towards failing.
You all tried your
Simpsons
hardest and failed miserably. The lesson is never try.
Love. Beautiful. Beautiful.
There we go. That's an ending. Well, we're good.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Big Hero 6, do see it. It is pretty good, but not a classic. Like, not going to stand out. Bit like Tangled. Tangled was good, but not a classic. Not going to stand out.
Well, they've probably made all their money back, so, yeah.
Probably, I'm not sure. Kind of interested now.
Do you want me to quickly talk about biscuits while you look it up?
Ah?
I can talk about biscuits again.
No, it's made.
Can you hear the biscuits? I have chocolate caramel digestives again. There you go.
Wait, hold on. There was a post-credit scene. I didn't... What?
The robot died again.
No. Oh, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's on like 500 million at the moment. So, it's done well, but it didn't set the world on fire.
I don't want to set the world
on
fire.
Did you play Fallout 3?
Yeah, I played a bit.
Oh, nice.
Of course I
Is
didn't
there a
finish it.
Anyway, yeah, we should end this off. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I'm peacing out.
Yep. Girl Scouts.
So, any final thoughts and prayers for us?
Prayers?
Yeah, if you want.
Dear Jeebus, let Spider-Man's cameo be good. And,
Sure.
And solve
pretty
world
solid.
hunger. And peace
Oh,
on Earth.
wow. What, the cameo
The end.
does this, or Jeebus?
Jeebus. Always Jeebus.
Oh, always Jeebus. Oh, this has been a bit of a sleepy one. I'm going to say it. A little bit of a sleepy one, but that's okay. Yeah. Sometimes you got to go a little low energy for the people. Especially after ranting about Spider-Man. Sometimes you got to slow it down.
You really have. Otherwise people get too excited.
Yeah, and they'll just go to bed all like, yeah, whoa, yeah, let's do it, yeah. And they just won't sleep.
So what you're saying is people should listen to this in bed before they go to sleep.
It'll put you to sleep. I mean, that's a guarantee.
Job done.
Nice. So anyway, I haven't asked this in a few podcasts, but what's going on your channel? Whoever you are, Joe.
Okay. I started a new Let's Play. It's another point-and-click game by LucasArts called The Dig. Hey, it's a science fiction one. It's a pretty weird game, but I liked it, so I thought I'd Let's Play it. What else is going on? A few more Minecraft videos, and that's about it, really. I'm only doing one Let's Play at a time now, so yeah.
Well, good for you, man, doing the point-and-click. Because that's what I kind of thought, where it's like when you did Beneath the Still Sky, you did that and something else. I can't remember. And I think same with Indiana Jones as well. But this is the first time you're doing the point and click as the Let's Play, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Well, if people don't care about the game, then at least look at the game because it's pretty. There you go.
It is
that's
pretty.
My advice. Yeah, it's really nice looking game.
It's pretty lame.
Oh, some of the dialogue is pretty lame. Actually, I'll say that, but I can forgive it.
I slapped my knee.
Do you know who does the voice of the main guy?
Neil Blomkamp.
No, it's the guy who played the evil Terminator out of Terminator 2.
Oh,
Robert Patrick, I think his name is.
Well, that is interesting.
Yeah, vaguely interesting.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. What about your channel, Tom?
Oh, it's all just wonderful quality stuff.
You're almost reaching the end of Red Dead, aren't you?
Yeah. So next week, Dax is going to end. Like, it's a part went up on Sunday, and then there's only one more part left, and then
they're ending at the same time. Don't your Let's Plays always do this?
Yep. Every time. Without meaning to, they always end at the same time.
Well done.
Although Red Dead's still going to have like another couple of parts after Daxter, but I've got a bonus part of Daxter to do, so they're going to end at the same time.
Can I just moan something quickly about Red Dead? Not your videos, someone else's.
Yeah, damn straight, yeah.
I was watching a Let's Play of the game. I've been watching 2 Let's Plays of Red Dead, yours and someone else's. And they
kick his ass.
They finished the game, except they didn't, because they didn't do the last mission.
Oh,
how terrible is that?
Epilogue mission?
They didn't do the epilogue.
Oh, boo!
They did the whole game and they didn't do that, which sort of it really makes a point about the game, and they missed it. How stupid!
Yeah, that is pretty bad. That makes no sense.
It's all about that final. Well, not all about it, but it's a really strong point about that final mission. And he missed it. Idiot! Idiot!
What a fool! Unsubscribe.
I almost did, but
oh snap!
I'm sure you won't do that, will you?
I think I might end it now. Actually,
just
no
farming.
more parts. Just shoot some crows and call it a day.
Yeah, a nice happy ending.
Good job. Yeah. So Red Dead will be. It probably won't end next week, but it'll be right towards the end. Then Dax will end next week. So
Tom,
got
any hints for your next Let's Play? Any hints, have you?
Yeah, I'm doing this game I found on Steam. It's called The Dig. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a point and click, which I haven't done before, so it's going to be really interesting.
You haven't done a point and click before, actually.
No.
Do a point and click. There you go.
No. They're hard, and they make people look dumb.
Yeah, yeah. No, have you got any hints, Tom? Any hints?
Well,
What
one of
consoles are?
them... Well, I know one of them. The other one I'm not too sure about, because one of them is going to be a game series that I always come back to, like an old familiar. So I'll be jumping back onto
old
that. But it's
faithful.
actually... Yeah, but it's not a good game, so that's why it's going to be really fun. And then...
Okay.
Then the other one I'm not sure about, because I want to do a Nintendo game, because I haven't done one in so long. But I have no clue which one to do, because there's
Super
so
Mario Galaxy.
many. I don't want to... I could do.
2.
Why 2?
I don't know, because I haven't seen 2, and I've played the first
Oh,
one.
okay. Oh, okay. I like the first one.
Um,
2's good, but first one's better.
Dr. Mario.
I don't want... No!
Mario's missing.
Listen, you don't know. I could do Mario's Missing. I could.
Or,
Wait.
Oh, crap, what was that game I played? I don't know.
That is a very vague question. I don't know what game you played.
Stick to Dr. Mario, then.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's going to be something. I was thinking about doing a Wii U game, but... Again, already, they're already done. Would not bring anything new to the table. Same old. But there will be a review next Saturday, so... I could get out
cool.
sooner, but I like putting them out on Saturdays, so...
Good.
Yes. It's all good.
Have you put any more fancy editing tricks in yours and made it all fancy?
It's the same editing trick. It's the same editing stuff.
Okay. Equal level of fanciness.
Yeah, so it'll be about the same. I have to, like, Google it, then I have to try and follow, like, instructions about how to do effects, and then it'll be for, like, an old Adobe Premiere that isn't even the same as mine, so the instructions make no sense. Like, it's really hard and confusing.
Practice makes perfect, though, Tom. You'll get there
Yeah.
eventually. I believe in you.
No.
Alright, well,
I'll stick to the blur effect. I like the blur
Yeah,
effect.
the blur effect's good. That blur effect.
Blur
top-notch,
effect's
A
solid.
star.
Just stick to that and star wipes, it's fine.
Yes.
But yes, let's end this off. So, Joe, thanks for not falling asleep. I appreciate that.
That's no problem. I will. When I do want to go to sleep, I will listen to that part of the podcast.
Hey, oh man.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, well, we'll see you next week, guys.
See ya.